Hello, Editing Jessie here. I just wanted to pop on before the beginning of this podcast to quickly apologize for missing an episode last week. We've had some technical difficulties with my computer, audio issues, and then Greg has also been sick, so unfortunately we didn't get around to it. And also, as I was editing, I realized not all of the audio issues were fixed, so sorry again if you do hear some mic bumps or sirens in the background. Just know that that's on our end, not yours. All of it should be fixed for next week, though, so until then, thank you so much for your patience, and thanks for listening. Hello, listeners. This is Jessie.
And this is Greg.
And you're listening to Spoilers Are Good, Actually, a podcast where we revisit some of our old favorite shows and talk about how knowing the ending affects our experience the second time through.
Today watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, Book 1, Chapter 10, Jet. Now, the format of this podcast is that we will have both a spoiler section and a spoiler-free section. The spoiler-free section will be first. In the spoiler section, we're going to talk about everything in Avatar and also anything that might be in Legend of Korra and the comics. We encourage people to stay for the spoiler section, even if you haven't watched the show. But if you have to, watch the rest of Avatar, watch Korra. But the point is, you're missing a lot of the content of our podcast if you only stay for the spoiler-free section.
And one quick content note, Avatar: The Last Airbender is a kids show, but this is not a kids podcast. We won't be going into any darker or more mature themes than the show itself does, but we will be using adult language, so listener be warned.
Great. The Jet episode's dark, honestly.
Yeah, it's a lot, for sure.
We casually bring up just murdering a whole village of people in revenge for the Fire Nation doing Fire Nation things. So war crimes on top of war crimes.
Yep, gotta love it.
Thanks, Peter Pan.
Let's see. Do you want to do your 10-word summary first?
Got two of them, so I'll start with my fake one, and then I'll give you the real one. The fake one is, oh my god, Jet is the worst, and some plot.
I mean, that does sum it up. I wrote, Sokka's instincts are right the one time it actually matters. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we'll talk about it in the section, but like we had a whole thing about Sokka's instincts, but the fact is they were wrong almost every time.
Uh-huh.
They were just
pretty much. But like they were right the one time.
Mm-hmm. And then my real 10-word summary is the show explores Sokka's leadership while Katara drools over Jet.
Every time I hear yours, it feels like it's too many words. But it's not.
No,
it's good.
Not. I count.
Like, I don't know. I trust you that you count, but like,
just doesn't feel right.
I have to check it for myself because it feels long.
You're jealous.
Oh my god, no. Please, no. I'm so tired of hearing people say they're jealous. I'm so sick of it. It does not all come down to jealousy. God.
Who was it that said it this time? Oh, it was Katara. It's always the one that's upset in the episode. Katara said that Sokka was jealous.
Yeah.
Of Jet.
I mean, Aang also jokingly said that Sokka was jealous of Appa's arrows, which is just facts. Who doesn't want to be Appa?
I'm also jealous of Appa's arrows.
I like his arrows. I like his fur.
I like the fact that he can fly.
Like, what is not to love about a giant, fluffy, flying animal?
Yeah. But yeah, so this episode it's a Sokka episode, really. When people think of Jet, they usually think of Katara, I feel. Like, she's just, like, the one character that really seemed to be most impacted by Jet. But like, this is a Sokka episode. Jet is a foil for Sokka. They talk a lot about Sokka being the leader of the group, the person that's in charge, and he's got to follow his instincts and think of things on the fly. And then he comes across Jet, who is this charismatic, very like smart talking, very influential guy who's got his own lost children in the woods, and he's fighting a guerrilla war against the Fire Nation. And Katara's into him. Oh my god. The ladies love him. The kids are big fans of him, and Sokka's out here trying to trust his instincts and walking into Fire Nation raids.
Aang just likes that they have zip lines.
Aang liked everything about it because he was like, this is all so much fun. The guy has a treehouse, like, camp. Hanging out with his friends, no adults anywhere. They're just having adventures and hanging out with their buds. It is a 12-year-old's dream. It's a lot. It was great.
Is Aang Wendy?
Yes. No.
I mean, Katara is clearly Wendy.
Yeah. And Aang's one of those. Is Aang one of
There's two brothers,
yeah.
Right? I have not seen Peter Pan in a long time.
Yeah, there's like the smaller one with the...
Can't get through it.
Sorry. Yeah.
Just like I can't get through my sentences. I mean, that was all. I was just going to say I can't get through the problematic parts of Peter Pan these days, even though, ignoring those, it's a lovely film.
It's solid. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. But yeah, like, Jet, they made Peter Pan edgy, and they put him in the woods, and they said that he's gonna fight against the Fire Nation, and
they gave him a little stick in his mouth, which just makes him look like an asshole.
An attractive asshole.
No, just a regular asshole.
The thing is, Jet is, I mean, like, he's a competent leader. He's good. He comes up with clever plans. He knows how to coordinate large groups of people. He's very good in a fight. Like, he has all of the aspects that, like, Sokka really wants in a leader. But he's also blinded by his revenge, by his, like, need for revenge. He has nobody that actually second guess his decisions, which I thought was a big thing that I noticed. All the Lost Boys they're not the Lost Boys, they're the Freedom Fighters. I should probably use the term that's in
yeah.
But, like, he doesn't have a lieutenant or a second in command or anything like that. There's nobody that says, hey, wait, I don't think this is a good decision. Nobody ever does that. In fact, the only time that he, like, talks to somebody about it, he's like, I think he was talking to Pipsqueak, and he was like, listen, Jet always tells us, what to do, and it always turns out okay. Because he's a good leader.
I think when they're making the plan, Smellerbee is like, what about all the people in the town? And Jet's like, well, that's just
the price it'll,
side effect.
Yeah.
And they just kind of agree with it.
Yeah. I don't think that's pointing out
it's not the same, because they don't have any real authority or influence.
Yeah. In the same way that, like, in Sokka's small group, right? If Katara says, no, fuck that, I don't want to do it, Sokka actually has to, like, listen to her, and often he adjusts his plan to accommodate the fact that Katara will not budge on this.
Yeah.
We saw this in
listen,
Haru.
Katara is the real leader.
Yeah. Anyway.
Honestly, only just because Aang will do whatever she says, and then Sokka's outnumbered. But still.
Yeah, Sokka's the leader in position, but she has the actual political power. But yeah, like, so it's showing that, like, Sokka's it shows that Sokka is a resourceful leader. Like, he's the kind of person that does have these traits and qualities. But it also shows that, like, he doesn't have them to the same degree that Jet does. And he also knows how to adjust and adapt. And he knows how to be moral about his decisions and his plans, I don't know. I really like the dynamic between Jet and Sokka. This is also one of the few times where we really start to, like, focus on Sokka as a character. What the last time we did that was with Suki, and the Kyoshi warriors.
Yeah.
Like we haven't we haven't paid attention much to Sokka in a while.
That's true. I also think it's interesting how probably their backgrounds really influence how they view the Fire Nation and what they see as, like, the moral line. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously we're supposed to disagree with Jet. Yeah. And I do, for the most part.
Uh-oh.
But
keep going.
But I think I was going to say that Sokka was a little more insulated from the war, and that's not necessarily true. But his and Katara's experience was just a couple of military raids, and they have only experienced, like, again, the military violence part of the war, whereas Jet is directly affected by colonialism and by the places he lives being occupied and taken over by the Fire Nation military, which doesn't always just mean soldiers, right? To occupy a place, you have to have regular people move there, too.
Right, yeah.
So it makes more sense that he would see kind of all of the Fire Nation as the enemy and have less distinction between militants and civilians.
That makes a lot of sense. Because, you know, the Southern Water Tribe wasn't occupied at the beginning of the show. Meanwhile, Jet seems to have devoted a good chunk of his time and energy towards getting the Fire Nation out of this place. And they've probably been there for who knows how long, right?
Yeah.
There are civilians there. We saw an old man that was just traveling there, and he was Fire Nation too. So, like, you're right. There's got to be some kind of some influence, something there where, you know, Sokka hasn't had to go, these people that killed my parents are still here. They need to go for months, years, however long. That hasn't been a thing for Sokka. That was a thing for Jet, though.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the show kind of wants to chalk it up to just his personality, and he's just, like, more amoral and anarchist than anything else. But I think it's also important to look at the context of essentially the settler colonialism of the Fire Nation in this episode. Because, it gets hard to distinguish between who is at fault and who needs to like, face retribution when part of the strategy of the military occupation of your land is just sending regular-ass civilians to live there. Like, they're complicit in this. I don't know. I don't often find myself, like, really wanting remakes or anything like that, but I do think that the format of, like, the hour-long live-action, more serious take on it could have some really interesting takes on this part of the plot specifically, just because there's no time for that kind of nuance. Yeah. It's all just kind of hinted at.
But yeah, you could definitely give Jet an actual full backstory and talk about, like, how he arrived at this place specifically and how he saw the, like, Fire Nation civilians as the enemy, as the people that need to be eliminated, as the price that must be paid for the objective good in his mind of eliminating the Fire Nation from this place that is not theirs, that they stole from him and his people, or whoever else. You know, we could even be more altruistic, where this is not actually, like, his land, or he never came from here or whatever, but this, he knows this isn't the Fire Nation's land, and they need to be eliminated and removed from it.
It would just be interesting to get, again, a more nuanced or, like, complex take just in general on the colonies. But we, again, don't have time for that here, and that's also not the point of the story. A lot of this political stuff is just background.
Yeah.
And it exists to inform the characters, which is one of the things I really like about this show, is that everything exists mostly to inform the characters and to build up their personalities and their arcs.
Right. The politics of the world comes second to the immediate story that we have.
But listen, I'm a political science major. I can't not think of it in these terms. I can't watch things like this and not think about, like, I don't know, what was the old man snitch in the other episode thinking, and what led him to make that decision, and, like, what about this situation has made Jet take this position, because it's not. Most people's decisions and like views and opinions in politics are not just a matter of personality or even like personal moral code.
Right.
There's so much situational and experience and background that informs those things.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the Jet Katara dynamic that was going on too?
I mean, I guess. It's a little frustrating to watch, because it kind of... I don't like how much it gets played up as just her, like, being a dumb girl with a crush. Because I think if you really look at it and you really think about it, there's a lot that they actually can, like, bond and connect over.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, you know, he's tall, dark, and handsome. And she's... impressed by him, but they also have all of these similarities of, like, again, bonding over losing parents to the war.
Yeah.
Just this really strong, deeply held belief of, like, not abandoning people who need their help and being fueled by, like, righteousness and sometimes, like, vengeance is something that Katara really relates to.
And Jet's a smooth talker, like, period. There's nobody can argue that. Jet is charismatic.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that they don't have Aang kind of hate Jet out of jealousy. And I think that choice was deliberately made because they want it to be, like, Sokka is the only one dissenting.
Right.
To show that it's just, like, him having a bad feeling and, like, looking into things more. And everyone else is kind of just taking Jet at face value and listening to his rhetoric and thinking he is cool and smart. And I think if Aang had some kind of jealous distaste towards him, would be very in character, but would harm Sokka's narrative in this episode.
You're right, because they did basically sideline Aang for the most part. They brought Aang back for the fight, which was awesome, and I want to talk about it a little bit more. But Aang as a character didn't really do much this entire episode. He just like saw Jet, saw the people in the Freedom Fighters, and he was like, "You're awesome. That's cool. I love that. Great. I'm with it. I'm down." You know, Sokka's like, "I have a bad feeling." Katara says, "What are you talking about? You're jealous." And she says, "We're gonna go help Jet." And Aang says, "Sorry, Sokka." Just goes with Katara. He basically an extension of Katara's will at that point. Aang doesn't really do much.
Aang just likes that they have zip lines.
And zip lines are fucking
and tree
cool.
houses. And he's like, yeah, this shit cool. is dope. Yeah, let's go. And I want to stay here forever.
Yeah, the Freedom Fighters had basically just like a 12-year-old's dream. And who could blame Aang, honestly? But, he didn't really do much as a character in this episode.
No.
So yeah, you're right. If we bring Aang in, then we're going to be impacting Sokka's plotline a bit more. And what we really needed here was a bit of the tension between Sokka and Katara, and Jet being kind of the impetus of that tension. He's the main reason why Sokka and Katara are at each other's throats during this episode.
Yep. And it is, the episode is called Jet. He is kind of the focus of this conflict, but it is part of a bigger dynamic that we see between Katara and Sokka throughout the show. We've seen it already back in Imprisoned, and we continue to see this kind of conflict in their priorities, where Sokka wants to be very practical and strategic and pragmatic, and he wants to use his brain and be the logical, let's make smart decisions person, and Katara is completely driven by her emotions. She's the heart of the group. She is mostly motivated by a really, really strong need to help people and protect people and take care of people.
Right.
And so she's not going to abandon anyone that she sees as needing her help.
Right.
I think if she didn't have a crush on Jet, if it was some, again, random other character who she didn't think was hot at all, I think she still probably would have sided with, I don't know if we can fully trust them, you're right, but the village is in danger. The Fire Nation wants to burn this forest, and we have an obligation to stay and protect it and help.
Right.
As waterbenders,
Yeah.
we are uniquely equipped to help in this situation, so I have to stay.
Right. And it was really cool that we've seen this dynamic before. In Imprisoned, Sokka was like, we need to leave now. And Katara was like, no, I'm not leaving without saving these people. And in this episode also, Sokka was like, we need to leave now. Katara was like, no, we're going to stay and help. Sokka was right this time. I like the fact that occasionally we get to say, no, the person that made the right call was the other person. Showing that, like, this dynamic that they have is healthy in that it allows us to address... it allows us to at least see the merit of multiple different points of view.
Yes, and I appreciate that. I really like that they didn't turn it into using your head is always right. Don't get too caught up in your emotions,
right?
Or I would, if you had to go one way, I would prefer to promote following your heart. Mm-hmm. But whatever, that still would have been less satisfying. It is good that they kind of go back and forth, and it's never one of them is always right. It's situational.
I will say that I generally tend to appreciate when shows realistically give consequences to actions. Mm-hmm. So I don't like shows that go follow your heart, it's always right, and then I when in the back of my mind I'm thinking, yeah, but somebody should have died here. You got very lucky. Something like that. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate it for the exact opposite reason. But yeah.
Listen, I'm just saying, if one has to be always right.
Fair.
I want it to be follow your heart and help people, not be pragmatic and reasonable.
That's understandable. That makes perfect sense.
That's all I was saying there.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, this is a fun episode. I really liked I liked all of it. I don't think there's a part of it that I didn't enjoy. Mm-hmm. There were small bits that I enjoyed that I didn't pick up on immediately. I think the show really wanted me to, though. Where Sokka was at the very beginning, Sokka was like, the metalwork on these traps, it's Fire Nation. Knew immediately there are Fire Nation soldiers around here. Mm-hmm. Yada yada yada. Uses those traps later on because he knows that the Freedom Fighters didn't lay those traps, mm-hmm. and that's how he got Smellerbee and Pipsqueak to get caught in the traps while he was running.
Oh, yeah. I didn't make that connection until you just explained it. That's good though.
Yeah, and he also showed that he knows some tracking things because he stuck his knife in the tree and was listening. He was it amplifies vibrations. Mm-hmm. Showing that Sokka is competent and he's got these skills, but
as much as we're making fun of his instincts, he's not a complete dumbass.
His instincts were wrong several times. He had them, so I think he was right to say we probably shouldn't be flying, we should walk, because the show has shown that Zuko is literally just looking in the sky and seeing Appa.
They didn't get caught by Zuko this episode.
They did not, but they did walk straight into a Fire Nation camp. Ugh. And that's hilariously bad. And I feel like he said, I think instincts came up again before the one time he was right. I forgot what it was though. It's okay. I'm not gonna dwell on it. But the one time when he was right was a wild thing and probably the single most impressive thing anybody's done in my mind in the show. And that was when he was like, I need to, instead of stopping the the crew with the blasting jelly over there, I need to go to the village and have them evacuate. If a complete stranger came to you today and said, you need to leave your home because it will be blown up today, how likely are you to leave your home today? Give him the entire day. I don't care, right? Mm-hmm. He did that for a whole village using only the social capital that one old man that he protected gave him. Maybe that old man was the head of the village.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I think generally being an elder, he probably has some kind of clout. And specifically, he has the information that he had met Sokka before. Mm-hmm. Sokka was with the freedom fighters who he's claiming are making this plan, and Sokka was disagreeing with them. Mm-hmm. And they seem to have had a clash. And so, he trusts that Sokka's actually trying to save them and not trick them.
Right. Even with all of that.
And then there's just they do put a lot of trust in this old man as a town.
Yeah, like, even with all of that, maybe there were some people that just didn't, and we don't ever find out that there were some people that died, but, like, he saved...
I mean, that's probably more realistic, but This is a kid's show.
This is a kid's show, but he saved an entire village, which is impressive. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Know,
Speaking of impressive, can we just take a second to appreciate Katara freezing Jet to that tree?
Very good. We have not seen
amazing.
her. First of all, this is, we're seeing more and more of Katara's waterbending. It's getting really good, but we've never seen her like use her breath to freeze anything. She used she's frozen people before, but usually it was like a part of a waterbending move.
Yeah. And
so we know that you can do that, but this was very cool. Right after Jet kicked Aang's ass in that really cool fight, she was like, you lied to me, you betrayed me, and I'm done with you. And also, look at this really cool move I have.
Yep, I love it. Top tier Katara moment. I love when she's angry.
Yeah. I also wanted to talk about... Oh, sorry.
I mean, I was just going to say it reminds me, again, of Harry Potter and in Prisoner of Azkaban where Hermione punches Draco in the face. It's that same level of satisfying. I need to stop comparing things to Harry Potter.
Trans rights matter.
Listen, instead of a swear jar, we need a fucking Jolin Coling rolling jar. Where we just put $1 in every time I bring up Harry Potter, and then we donate it to Trans Lifeline. Because I can't stop making these comparisons.
Yeah, I mean, fact is, it is a very influential piece of media in our lives, and we don't have a way to avoid drawing comparisons to it, period.
I could just keep my mouth shut, though.
That's true. But yeah, no, I wanted to talk about the fight because I thought it was an awesome fight. It's probably one of the best fights in season 1.
Jet's got those hook boys.
Really cool blades, the hook blades. It's a really cool weapon that I've never heard of or seen except here. And like maybe they exist somewhere, I just never seen them. And he just uses them so cleverly. He uses them to disable people, to fucking climb. I love the fact that the weapon is perfectly suited to the environment that he operates in. Mm-hmm. You need a weapon that helps you navigate nimbly within the trees, and he has hook blades, which allow him to catch limbs, swing from limb to limb, Spider-Man style if you want to. And then there's the blade that comes out near his handle, I guess, where he can just stick it into the tree and climb it normally. And he went blow for blow with Aang, who really didn't want to fight him. Right. And it was so cleverly done. They were just dancing through the trees. The environment really made a big difference on how they approached things, and they attacked each other from various angles. And at the end of it, Jet actually won. He he got a good kick on Aang in midair, and Aang fell to the ground. But then Katara was like, "Fuck you," and that was great.
Yeah, I love the episodes where they're in the forest just from an animation perspective. Those backgrounds are so pretty.
So nice. It was
just the fucking watercolor trees.
It was fall. Wasn't
and it's autumn in this episode, so it's golden, warm lighting on everything.
Oh man, now that I think about it, that's also really good. I like the fact that they made it very clear what time of year it is, where we are in our countdown, our timeline, right?
Yeah.
We are in fall.
That is important information.
Right. And they stayed true to it. We need to make sure we're ready to fight the Fire Lord by summer. It is fall right now. It's, middle of the fall too. It's so we got about a year, a little less than that.
If we're going by Animal Crossing standards, it's the end of the fall by the time the trees are orange. It's a shame. I wish they were orange longer. It's fine. It's not relevant.
But yeah, so it ended up being one of the coolest fights, I think, in the entire show. And then I also like how unique the Freedom Fighters were. They all had their own little quirks. You can, long shots, the silent one with the arrows. Mm-hmm. There's Smellerby, who's got the really cool, weird hair and small kid had the knife. Mm-hmm. The knife. We should talk about the knife.
Yeah, we went back and paused and unpaused and rewatched parts of this episode because we noticed Smellerby was carrying around a dagger, but our conclusion is that it's not the same dagger that they
Yeah.
pretty clearly planted on the old man.
Yeah.
God, for freedom fighters, they sure do a lot of cop shit. Anyway.
Fuck 12.
But, like, we compared it a lot. Smellerby's dagger is a little less curvy. It's just got, like, one curve, whereas the other one is more zigzaggy.
There's a different handle.
And the handle has a lot more, like, gold embellishment on it.
Right.
With the one that they showed with the poison in it. And Smellerby's is just kind of like a reddish leather.
Yeah. Yeah, Smellerby, there's
But we investigated.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was sus.
Yeah. Smellerby, their rogue, then Pipsqueak, the big dude with the who used a log to bend like two soldiers' swords, which I thought was great.
And we love Pipsqueak.
Pipsqueak was great. But yeah, I like the designs of the Freedom Fighters, is what I'm saying. I could never remember anything about the Lost Boys, but I could tell you about the Freedom Fighter.
Yep.
Fighters. Multiple, not one.
Speaking of Pipsqueak, I think we're ready to transition into the golden fuck. How about you?
Yeah. Works for me.
Okay.
Introducing the one, the only, the golden fuck!
So, my first golden fuck nomination goes to Aang.
Okay.
I think he should say fuck the moment that he is smacked to the ground by Pipsqueak.
That was such a funny
Like,
scene.
he's just, you think my name is funny? Yes, I do.
It's hilarious.
Pause. He smacks him to the ground, and I feel like he should just say fuck for a moment. Like, in that pause. And then start laughing. I think that would be very funny.
Mine was when they stumbled upon the Fire Nation camp when Sokka's like leading them. Open up. There are Fire Nation soldiers here.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right?
But who says it?
Oh, Sokka easy.
Okay,
Sokka
okay.
easy. You know, then maybe a quick quip about his instincts and then the...
Oh,
Go.
I'm sorry. It just reminded me that we need to announce the results of last week's poll.
Oh.
So we put our poll up on Twitter, @SpoilersAreGood, for who won the golden fuck last week. Our options were Aang clears the air when he poofs away the smoke, and everyone is staring at him, and then he pulls it back. Sokka hits the sails when he gets thrown, like, 2 hands over the top of this pirate's head into the sail on the boat. And then the third one was Zuko writes a proverb for when his uncle tells him to, like, pay attention to what's right in front of you. And Zuko goes, I don't have time for your fucking proverbs, uncle. And so, unfortunately, that one got no votes on Twitter, which is fair. It's good, but I think the other ones are better. Sokka hit the sails, got 1 vote. And then the winner is Aang clears the air with 3 votes.
Okay.
Plus 1 from Twitterless Jane.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod, Jane, let us know that she also voted for that one. So, by a margin of 4-1, Aang gets the golden fuck for Chapter 9.
Hell yeah.
Now, I am leaning towards Chapter 10, giving the golden fuck to Sokka. I like yours better than mine.
Yeah, I also like that one, so I think we're just going to give that one to Sokka. It's his.
Yeah, I kind of interrupted you laying out the scene if you want to
it's fine.
explain it more.
No, I think it was good. I think it's very easy to see.
Listen, we all watched the episode.
Yeah. It's okay. Congratulations,
That would be
Sokka.
hilarious.
You got a golden fuck in your episode, honestly. You deserve it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
Okay, so I guess we will see you all in the spoiler section. Zuko.
No?
No Zuko in this episode.
No, there was not.
But I had many things to say about Zuko because he was on my mind the whole episode.
Yeah, no, Jet, when you think about Jet, you do mainly think about Katara, first of all. I feel like Katara's like the first character you think about. But then it's Zuko, and then it's Sokka. Just like even though Jet is a foil for Sokka, it's he's got a lot more interesting relationships with both Katara and Zuko. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, it's nice seeing. I love seeing Jet at the beginning.
Just 3 bicons.
I love seeing Jet at the beginning, and he's kind of. This is the worst Jet that we get, right? Like the Jet we get later is a little bit better than this current Jet.
Yeah,
he's more
he grows,
right? Like
he takes something from this scenario. Mm-hmm. It doesn't completely change his worldview, but like. Having his decisions questioned and having that make him lose a friendship relationship that he valued.
Yeah.
He was clearly being a fuckboy.
Right.
But, I think he actually liked Katara.
Yeah.
I don't think that was out of nowhere. I don't think that was completely ingenuine. And so to have her, turn on him like that probably, upset him.
Yeah, I think that part of it is that he's really just not used to having people question him in the way that Sokka mainly did.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't have anybody that does that. And so he probably naturally just talks to people like that, his peers, people that he considers his peers, people that he's yeah, they're going to react well to me handling everything and being the smooth talker that I am. Mm-hmm. And then this happens, it hurts. And then he tries to be better when he goes to Bossing Say later. Mm-hmm. And then he meets Zuko. Ooh. Jet and Zuko is just such a good dynamic. I love the two of them working together.
They're so fun. They're so similar.
They're just...
Yet so different. Mm-hmm. Zuko is soft. Especially by that point, he's much softer.
He is.
And Jet is just an arrogant ass. But, they're good together.
Yeah. Jet's a lot more, I want to say, I was going to say he's a lot more driven by his, rage, but I don't think driven's the right word. He has less control over it, is really what I think. Zuko has to take a lot of steps to kind of change himself and make it so that his first instinct is not always to go after Aang. And we've seen it even in season 1. He can resist that urge.
Yeah, and I think a lot of Zuko's perceived arrogance is compensating and defensiveness against a really deep self-hatred and sense of shame.
Right.
Whereas Jet is just kind of a narcissist.
And he's driven by revenge. Mm-hmm. And so we see the end results of kind of that drive, that level of drive, kind of, when you can and cannot control it. Yeah.
But we love a couple who share an ex. Mm. Oh my god, I love it. I love it so much. So when I was saying that Zuko was on my mind the whole episode, I was referring to the fact that I just kept seeing so many parallels in Jet and Katara's relationship and Zuko and Katara's relationship and their dynamics. It's kind of ridiculous how similar they are. I don't know. A lot of the things that I was saying that Katara and Jet bond over is things that Katara and Zuko bond over.
Yeah.
Right? Southern Raiders is their big thing, and that is about finding your own sense of closure and catharsis and contemplating whether or not you want to have revenge. Right? That's a very similar thematic point to part of why Katara is drawn to Jet. There's just the whole angry boy thing, right?
What was Katara
has a type and Aang's not it.
And Aang's not it.
Yeah. They bond about their parents getting killed by the Fire Nation. God, even it's it jumped out to me in, like, flashing neon lights when Katara thanks Jet, and Jet goes, but I should be thanking you. And it's just, like, it's hard to believe that's an accident. I'm sure it was not intentional.
When did Zuko thank Katara?
In the finale.
Ah.
After the lightning.
He did, in fact, do that.
It's a very important scene.
I didn't forget that. That was for the...
Because it's reversed.
That was
again,
for the listeners. Yeah.
Right, in the finale, if you haven't watched in a while, or you are listening to spoilers without having seen the series, in which case I love you, thank you for being here. The finale of the show, Zuko jumps in front of Lightning for Katara, and then she goes and heals him. And as he, like, you know, wakes up after having his lightning strike healed, he, like, I don't know, he just kind of, like, whispers, "Thank you, Katara." And she starts crying and goes, "I'm the one who should be thanking you." And it's the reverse of the same lines. It might not be intentional, but it's there, and I am clinging to it. I'm making little grabby hands right now, like a fucking raccoon.
Yeah.
Like, give me the pieces, give me the ship.
Jet's such a good character. Like, I should emphasize now, Jet's such a fuckboy. Oh my god. But he's such a good character because we use him and we get so much out of so many characters.
That's true.
We get so much out of. First of all, just it looks like the first reason he was made was so that we could have the Sokka foil, right? Mm-hmm. And so we got a lot of, like, this is how Sokka works. This is his reaction to this kind of thing. This is the kind of leader that Sokka is, and this is the kind of leader he is not. But we also get a lot of his interaction with Katara. Mm-hmm. Wow, that was my voice cracking. I'm the oldest. Yeah, so we get a lot of Jet's...
Sorry, you're not the leader.
I'm not the leader.
I mean, that was just true already. Anyway,
we get a lot of the interaction with Jet and Katara where we see, you know, how Katara reacts. Like, we've seen Katara react emotionally, right? Mm-hmm. But we're seeing her react emotionally in more of a romantic sense, I guess, where we have somebody that she is interested in as a partner, and it's not the, like, last scene of the show where she just kisses the guy. We see how she reacts with him, like, actually working with him, how that impacts her decision making. Mm-hmm. And I know that, like, that was frustrating to a degree with you, but it lets us see a bit of that. Mm-hmm. And also, it's the first time we see Katara react to betrayal. Also,
right, yeah.
Right? And that's a huge thing for Katara, especially later, when she sees Jet again, when she sees Zuko after he betrays her. Like, we get to see this is the kind of person Katara is when you burn her once. Like,
she is very quick to trust. Mm-hmm. She doesn't project that betrayal onto other people very much, because she still very easily trusts people throughout the series.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the specific person who fucked with her...
They have to do a lot to get her forgiveness. Like, I don't even think that she fully forgave Jet before he died.
No.
Like...
It was more of a, like, begrudging we'll work together.
Right.
Because we have the same...
we have the same goals.
Goals right now, yeah.
You know, we gotta do this. Yeah. And then we see Jet and Zuko working together. How Zuko has to work to kind of hide his secret, right, while he's in Ba Sing Se. Mm-hmm. But, like, how Zuko's still willing to do things outside of the law. How Zuko's willing to work with shadier, more mysterious characters. How Zuko will... I mean, like, we got to see the really cool fight scene between Zuko and Jet also, where Zuko has to hide his firebending while in Ba Sing Se, but still confront this person who's found out their secret. Like, we get to see a lot through Jet. We also got to see, like, the dangers of Ba Sing Se. I love Jet as a character, even though Jet annoys the fuck out of me. Take that straw out of your mouth.
Oh my god, it's so awful.
Damn.
There was one frame.
I don't believe you.
Where they cut...
I think you're
lying.
He
had it in his mouth, and then they cut away, and then they go back to him talking to, like, Pipsqueak and Smellerbee, and it's not there for, like, 4 seconds, and then they cut away and come back, and he turns around and the stick's back in his mouth, but it wasn't there.
Listeners, I challenge you to find this scene.
It was not there. You go frame by frame. You will find it. Regardless, it's fucking disgusting. Like, what is the point?
Take the straw out of your mouth.
Just, It's so annoying. It does its job because it makes his face that much more punchable. Between that and the eyebrows. Ooh. Just want to...
But yeah, no, it was great. And so, Jet's a good episode. Jet's a fucking good episode.
Oh, you were talking about Jet and Zuko fighting in Ba Sing Se, and that reminded me of another parallel between the two of them, which is dual hook blades, dual Dao swords.
Yeah, yeah.
Two swords, two hands.
Two halves of the same hole.
They're
yeah.
Same.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is both a Jet argument and a Zutara argument.
And is a Jet Katara?
Jet Kotara.
Jet Kotara argument?
You know, I'm not into it. It is not something that I wish was canon in the same way. But it's fun. Yeah. It's hilarious to me. Again, another thing that is so funny to think about the two of them talking about post-series. Just like imagining...
You're into Jet?
Like, the way I see it is Zuko is, like, coming out to everyone, right? And he's just like, guys, I need you to know, pretty sure I'm bisexual. I knew since I,
met this guy.
Hooked up with this guy, Jet, on a boat.
Jet?
And I thought it was, I thought it was one time, but now I'm realizing that that's just who I am. And then they're like, wait.
This guy Jet, did he always have a straw in his mouth?
In Ba Sing Se? That same Jet?
Same Jet.
Wow, I also dated Jet. Amazing.
I don't think she would have said that. I think Sokka would have been like, yeah, Katara dated that guy. And Katara would be like, no, I didn't.
Right.
Yeah. Katara would be like, no, I didn't. And Aang would be like, yeah, you did.
You didn't protest when they called him your boyfriend.
Toph's like, Toph's like, I could tell when you were telling the truth. And you definitely were.
Oh my god.
You at least said...
so funny.
Yeah. That'd be hilarious. Spoilers are good, actually. Come for the analysis, stay for the headcanons.
God. Remember, episode 1 where I was like, I don't want to talk about shipping that much. And now it's just all I talk about in the spoiler section.
Shame. I need to draw you away from this.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
Shipping is a very valid way to interact with media.
Yeah.
And of course I'm drawn to it because I like watching things for character and character dynamics and arcs and relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I think that a show fucks up the relationships, I am gonna think about that a lot.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, this episode's very good. It's a lot of fun looking at it, after having seen the whole series, mainly because there's just so much that you get to see the first parts of, and you can think about, hey, moving forward, this guy's going to be even more impactful. This guy's we can see this is the kind of impetus for the change that we will see later on, and you can kind of compare later Jet to current Jet. I really liked it. I like the fact that Jet knows how to draw connections to other people, and it's the thing that allows him to immediately enlist both the gang and also Zuko later. I like seeing all of this kind of working out within the plot.
All right, so that's all we have today for Book 1, Chapter 10, Jet. We hope you'll join us next time when we discuss Book 1, Chapter 11, The Great Divide.
The best episode!
Oh, Lord. Man, if you thought we were salty so far, you have no idea. Until then, in the meantime, please check us out on Twitter @SpoilersAreGood. We put up polls and keep track of the Golden Fuck and all sorts of good stuff on there, and we would love to hear from you.
Yep. Until next time, remember, just because it's spoiled doesn't mean it's rotten.
Bye.
Bye.